this is the worst injustice that could happen to any family.
It did happen. It's not like seeing something on TV about what happened in Mississippi, Alabama, and all this happened here in Lee County. It's an ugly history, but it's still actual history.
I don't think people should hide it. I think they should know.
It's a piece of Fort Myers history almost buried, preserved only in old newspaper articles and in stories told of those long past. It happened over 2 days, May 25th and 26th, 1924, a tragedy of 2 black boys, R.J. Johnson, just 14, and Milton Williams, 15, who went swimming with 2 white girls.
I mean, the story that we were told that they knew each other. They were friendly kids playing around, but playing away in a manner which some white man didn't like.
We assume it was skinny dipping, and they were reported as having been naked with these 2 girls.
And this is when the trouble started.
Historian Nina Denson Rogers says the boys were accused of rape. RJ was found and brought to jail, but the sheriff was reportedly overpowered by an angry white mob, and RJ was taken. Milton hid in a train car, but was captured by the mob the next day. The boys suffered an unimaginable death. They were shot, hanged, lynched in Fort Myers.
They dragged them up and down the road, and I guess that's why people get all excited about it, because it hurts me when I think about it, because when you got children,
It was meant to terrorize. It was meant to intimidate the black population.
FGCU's Dr. Jonathan Harrison has spent years researching with little to go on. The lynchers were never identified, much less held accountable, and much of what was assumed way back then has since been disputed.
According to the newspaper report of 1976, one of the girls said that the boys were totally innocent. And as far as we know, they were innocent.
Somewhere in this area, definitely somewhere in this area right in here.
Charles Barnes of the Black History Society showed us where it all happened. Growing up, he remembers large oak trees behind what's now the Stars Complex. They're gone now.
So this was, they called it the lynching trip. But we played in it, not really understanding what that meant.
From there, the mob dragged the boys' bodies north, up Cranford Avenue, through what was then known as Safety Hill. Back then, still now, a predominantly black neighborhood.
Hard to even imagine. You have to deal with that for the rest of your life, seeing that image. And can you imagine that?
Barnes, older now understands the horror of it all.
It's history. I mean, it's an ugly history, but at the end of the day, I think we need to recognize those things did happen.
Across America, there is an effort to do exactly that.
And the whole story needs to be told, and I think these markers connects that history.
The Alabama-based Equal Justice Initiative is working to place historical markers at lynching sites across the country.
There's no finality, there's no closure if we don't acknowledge these crimes.
They also collect soil from the sites to honor those so brutally and unjustly killed. The group visited Fort Myers about 5 years ago to discuss putting up a marker here, but it never happened.
We started this conversation, but it kind of stopped. I'm not sure why that happened, but it kind of stopped. So
the History Society hopes someday it will happen, hopes the darkest piece of Fort Myers' past is brought to light once and for all.
Do you think we can learn from
I think so.
something like that?
Yeah.
Even today?
We want justice to prevail. We don't want any trouble. We just want people to do the right thing about each other.
We owe it to the descendants of the relatives of the victims. And we owe it to the 2 boys that their names do get remembered. because they didn't have an opportunity to live a full life. So we owe them something.
Reporting for NBC2, I'm Evan Dean.